Hi everyone and welcome back to another tutorial, and in this video I'll be showing you guys how to make a basic fancy skirt with lining. So you can see the finishing here is very neat. So if you're a beginner and you've been looking for that perfect tutorial, this is it. This tutorial promises to be beginners friendly, and even if you're advanced, this tutorial is the good. So without wasting any much time, let's jump right into the video. For this project, you're going to need your zipper. So I have a short zipper here. Then you're also going to need lining and then your fabric of choice. So this is a crepe fabric. So the outfit I want to make is actually a two-piece outfit for my sister. So I'm going to be cutting the skirt. I'm making the skirt first. So if you're interested in seeing what the upper part would look like, a tutorial on it, you can stay tuned for my next video. So I've gone ahead to cut out the amount of fabric that I need to make the skirt, and here I have about 31 inches. So it's not up to a yard. So this part of the crepe fabric stretches a bit. This area does not stretch. So we're going to use here to cut all the horizontal measurements and here to cut all the vertical measurements. So when I say horizontal measurements, I'm talking about your waist circumference, your hip circumference, like all the circumferences will be on this area. Now for the vertical measurements, we're talking about the length of the skirt, your waist to hip, your waist to your knee. So just lengthwise and then width-wise, if you understand what I mean. That's the only way I can explain it. So I folded my fabric like this, and these are her measurements. So her waist is 28, her hip is 39, her waist to hip is 9, waist to knee is 26, and her skirt length is 28 inches. So the full length of this crepe fabric is about 60 inches. So a quarter of her hip measurement is 9.75. That's 39 divided by 4 is 9.75. So apparently I have so much fabric left here, so I'm going to adjust the material a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to use 12 inches, even though it will be too much for what I want, but that's fine. I'm going to first mark a starting line here. Now this skirt is going to have a waistband of probably 1.5 inches. So I'm going to place my tape measure like this. Now I want to first of all mark her waist to hip. So her waist to hip is 9. So I'm going to add half an inch extra to this because the half an inch will serve as the seam allowance to join the waistline area to the waistband. So 9.5. And her waist to knee is 26. So I'll probably make that 26.5 like this. Now for the skirt length is 28 inches. But looking at the length of the picture that she sent to me, I'm going to add a little bit of extra allowance to that, so that it is better that the skirt is long than it is short, because she sent this measurement to me virtually, so let's be safe. So instead of marking 28.5 here as the actual length of her skirt, I'm probably going to make that 30.5. So I just added extra 2 inches to that. So I'm just going to mark the same thing right here. Then from the knee line, I'm going to come upwards by 4 inches. So I folded the fabric to the wrong side, so I'm taking my measurements on the wrong side of the fabric. Alright, so now on the waist area, a quarter of our waist circumference is 7 because this is 28. So divide 28 by 4, you're going to have 7 inches. So I've marked that right there. Then I'm going to add 1 inch as the sewing allowance. So when I'm cutting the back, I would add 1 inch as the dart allowance. So this is going to be for dart allowance for the back. The front is not going to have any dart. So a quarter of our hip circumference, that is 39 divided by 4, is 9.75. So I'm going to add 1 inch extra to that. Now, this measurement I have here, I'm going to take away 1.5 inches from it. So this is 10.75 minus 1.5 would be around 9.2. So I'm going to come here and mark that right here. Okay, so here to get that pencil shape fitting, I just took away 1.5 inches from my hip measurement and placed it right here. So I'm also going to mark the same thing right here, 9.2 on her knee line. Then I'll do the same thing here, 9.2, and I'm going to connect the points together. So I'm going to connect from the waist to the hip line now. So this first connection here will be for the front waistline. For the front rather, it's going to be for the front. Now this is going to be for the back. Try to curve here a little bit. So before cutting, I'm going to add an extra 1 inch here for the hem allowance. That's to hem the skirt. I'm adding an extra 1 inch here. I'll go ahead and cut it out now. Alright, so this is for the front, so I'll go ahead and do that for the back. So to cut out the back, this is the rest of the fabric, so I'm going to place the front on it. So we'll be adding 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So I'm going to move the front a bit. Let's try and mark 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So I'm just going to transfer the major lines to the back. So we're going to go ahead and cut it out now. So I'm going to notch the hip line, the 4 inches above the knee and the knee area. Then I'm also going to notch the hip line, 4 inches above the knee and the knee line, so that when I'm joining the two pieces together it will be very easy. Then split the center back open. So now that we have cut out the back, I'm going to remove the dark allowance that I added when cutting out the front. Then for the center front, I'll be coming down by 1 inch to remove any excess fold. Then cut it out. I'll go back and make sure that I have 8 inches here. Alright, so this is fine. So the next thing I'll be doing is that I'll go ahead and cut out exactly what I have here on the lining and then cut out the waistband. So I've gone ahead to cut out the lining pieces of the front and the back, as you can see here. The next thing that I'll be doing is to cut out the waistband. So now to cut out the waistband, I've already gone ahead to iron interfacing on my fabric, and I used a very thick stay and I actually like the way it feels. Now her waist circumference divided by 4 is 7 inches. So plus 1 inch for the side seam allowance, that's going to be like 8 inches. The width of the waistband is going to be around 1.5. So like this on the fold, I'll be cutting out 2 inches. So the ½ inch will be for the joining allowance to the lower part of the skirt. I'll just go ahead and pin this together. So from here, I'm going to measure 8 inches. Width is 2 inches. Okay, so I'm going to use this to cut out the waistband for the back. So for the back, the only difference is the zipper allowance. So let me check if I have more fabric. This is 9, exactly 9. That's close. I'm going to fold it into 2 again. So I can place the front on it and cut, or I'm going to mark the 2 inches directly. And this is 9 inches. They match up. So I'm going to cut it out. So I have the front waistband and the back waistband, like this. So putting the waistband aside, I'm going back to the main skirt piece. I'll be taking this to my sewing machine, and I'm going to be top stitching the lining onto the corresponding piece of the main fabric. So this is the front. I'll take this to my sewing machine, and from the waistline I'm going to top stitch all the way till I get to the end here, to this point. So I won't be top stitching the hem area for a reason, because I don't want the lining to make the edge, the hem, fold. So I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. From the side area I'm going to sew till I get to the waistband area. So it's essentially the same thing for the back. So I'm going to top stitch the waistline, the zipper allowance area, the side seam. I'm not going to do that for the hem. Then I'll come back and mark out the darts for the back. Or let me just go ahead and do it now, so that after joining them together I can just sew the darts straight up. So I'll be sewing the dart on this side. So I'll be taking about 4.5 inches for the dart. So remember that there's a zip allowance of 1 inch here, so the dart is just 3.5 inches from this point. So I'm going to come down by, I'll say, 5 inches or 5.5. So I'll come down by 5.5 inches. Mark the 4.5 that I marked here, and then I'll be sewing by 1/2 inch on both sides till I get to this point. This is for the dart. I'll repeat the same thing here. I'm going to mark 4.5 inches inwards, come down by 5.5, and sew by 1/2 inch till I get to this point. So I'll go ahead and top stitch the lining just like I have explained. Then I'll go ahead and sew the dart for the back before attaching the waistband to the waist area of the skirt. So I'm done sewing the darts for the back, and after doing that I went ahead to attach the waistband. So this is it for the back, and then I also went ahead to attach the waistband to the front part of the skirt. Now the next thing is to sew the zipper to the back area of the skirt. So I'm just going to mark out a hip line at the back. So this is my zipper, this is a hip line. So the zipper, I want it to stop probably 2 inches below our hip line, or probably 2.5, 2 inches to 2.5. So this is 4 inches above her knee. So this is 4 inches above her knee. Her knee line is here. This is 4 inches above her knee. So I'm going to sew by 1 inch till I get to this 4 inches above her knee point. So I'm going to sew it, that is, I would sew the 2 pieces of the back together by 1 inch to this point. Then go ahead and attach my zipper like this to this area of the center back. So I'm done attaching the zipper to the back. The next step is to sew the side seams together. So I'm going to place the front and back like this, right side to right side, and sew by 1 inch all the way to the end here, and I'll repeat the same thing on this side as well. If you have an overlocker at this point, you can go ahead and overlock your waistband area before you sew the side seam. So after closing up the side seams, I went ahead to overlock the raw edges, as you can see here. So To finish up the skirt, we need to hem it, and this extra allowance that is around this slit area, I'm going to be using my hemming gum. So I'm going to double the hemming gum like this. Then I'm going to place it here and then use my hot iron to press it together. So I'm going to repeat the same thing on this side. Double it, put here, and use the pressing iron to melt it together. Then the next thing I will do is that, remember that the allowance I marked for the hem is 1 inch. So I'm going to mark the 1 inch all around the hem of the skirt. Okay, so like I did for the slit area, I'm going to double the hemming gum, then place it like this on the 1 inch mark, and then fold the hem like this. So basically I'll just have like half an inch from here to this point. So I'll go ahead and do this around the hem and also do that for the slit area, and I'll show you guys the final result. Alright guys, so I'm done hemming the skirt. You can see how neat the hem is, and this is the slit area too. So the skirt is ready, and this brings us to the end of this tutorial. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video, share, comment, and I'll see you all in my next video.